the guide to native advertising for affiliate marketers. It has been collected from our case studies from our advertisers that work with us for native advertising. Hold on, it doesn't work. Okay, so here's a little bit of statistics on native advertising. Business Insider and IAB disclosed a little information on how native is growing. And as you can see on the graph, it's been growing quite rapidly, and it's estimated by 2018 it's going to take almost 22 billion ad spend in North America. Native ads will be driving over 74% of all ad revenue by 2021. As you know, a lot of social networks such as Facebook and Twitter, they all do native advertising, and most likely some of you already do that and being successful. However, there are a lot more native ad formats that are available from other companies, and there are some of them, such as promoted listings, which majority are from Amazon, in-feed, which is the most popular these days, which is also available for mobile apps, and mobile web, and desktop. Paid search results are from Google and Yahoo and most search engines. Recommended widgets, which recommend the content and suggest content. Usually it is below the article on blog or news website. There's also in-ad native. This is IAB standard formats. Usually fits into ad sizes such as 300 by 250, 160 by 600, and so on. There are also some custom-made native formats, and for the most part, it's being used on mobile devices and used to do the interstitials and interact with a visitor. There's also native programmatic that's happening, so advertisers can actually partner up with DSP platforms and use their in-feed or in-ad units, and it all can be bought programmatically. Sorry, guys. So there are some common native verticals, such as for technology and things like software, health and beauty, financial services, some gambling, dating, games, and education and careers. From some of our data, we collected a little bit information on what's most converted channel. So for instance, on publishing websites such as news and magazine, highest conversion would be financial services, where the lowest conversion would be auto industry. So for the technology publishing websites, the gadgets and software would be one of the top conversion verticals, where financial services would be the lowest. Education, well, it's pretty relative, so education and careers is well, related to education, right? So where real estate can actually be a little bit lower on the conversion. For the games, it's pretty obvious, so the entertainment would be the one that performs the best, where travel would be lower. Sports, well, in sports it's actually health and beauty, which work pretty well, and entertainment is at lowest conversion. So the shopping is on travel, and gadgets is on the lowest conversion. Sorry. So who runs native ads these days, aside from social platforms? Some of the world's top publishers, such as the New York Times and Forbes and College Humor, pretty much all verticals are available. And again, it can be purchased programmatically through the DSPs, where you can just basically select the domain where you want to run it and create your campaign and just run it in a few minutes. So how the native ad structure actually works and how it looks. So what you have to be prepared to upload into your profile when you create a campaign. So the first thing would be the thumbnail, the headline, which are the required kind of things in native advertising. Some platforms would also require you to do description of your article and disclaimer and brand name. But again, thumbnail and headline is the most important parts of the native advertising, because that's pretty much what visitor looks at most. And there are 6 most effective styles for a strong headline. So first of all, it has to be informative. It has to be inspiring and innovative. Things like shocking and jaw-dropping things also help to attract attention and increase click rates. Touching and heartwarming are the best parts as well. Such as questions headlines work very well because it attracts attention and people can interact with the headline. So here's the example of a strong informative headline, which you can take as an example. And as you can see here, so the idea of the promoted article from Blue Apron is making, well, the cooking, how you cook at home, right? So with the question is how to, you can kind of interact with the visitor, and it suggests a solution to solve the problem, such as less stressful. So it means, well, cooking, making is less stressful, right? So it kind of frames the content in familiar terms for people who want to cook. So creating strong descriptions. So again, this part is not like required by all platforms, but sometimes you have to think this through, because people, before they click, they might preview what's behind the headline. So you have to use exciting language such as attention and prevention. Use some statistics, some maybe percentages, that how many visitors, how many users. So some keywords that relate to headline would be also very useful. The second part of the native ad would be the strong thumbnail, because, well, first of all, that's by the case studies, that's what people look the most, right? So they look at the image, then headline. So image is one of the most important things in native advertising. Using faces and emotions are very, very good things to attract attention from the content where this native ad is being placed. So try to think of what's relative to the headline and put that image, such as you can see on this slide over here. There are some pros to native advertising, such as well, the high CTR and its higher engagement. It's been approved by Forbes.com. There's an article about it, and it increases brand lift by almost 82%. It avoids disrupting of user experience, and this is actually one of the most important things, because your offer is kind of with the content. It's being delivered with the content, right? So it's first of all, it's it might be the same style of the page as the native ad. So if, for instance, on the page you have all of the links in blue color, so the native ad will be also in blue color. So people that, visitor that visits this website quite often and kind of engaged with this website is going to be more willing to click and learn rather than the ones that just see like a banner placement or things like that. There are some also pros to native advertising, such as it gives users a choice to interact with the content and empowers customers, improves association with the brand and quality. Again, that's related to the content on the page, as well as the website that's being most visited by the person that sees an ad. Also, native ads are more shareable, so that's been actually proven. And a lot of companies, what they do on the landing page, they have those sharing buttons so that people can actually share the content than any other type of advertising. So there are some cons to native advertising, such as they can require in-depth campaign research, as many options available for targeting. So you have to be very precise in terms of targeting. Can be more expensive per bid, as high viewability makes market competitive. Can be subject to strict guidelines. Premium sites can be very specific about what they allow. So you have to make sure that your offer is, first of all, properly categorized so that publishers can disable it. Otherwise, if your offer is not properly categorized and publishers see that ad from the other channel, they might block the whole campaign. So you might lose a potential publisher right from there. Campaign goals that align well with the native ads. So it drives traffic to original content, educate the general public, and inspire new customers. After brand perception, associate brand with the content, improve sign-up rate for mailing lists, and drive consumer action. So all of these things apply to native advertising. So as a summary from this presentation, you might get a sense that native ads are more relatable to the content of the website. It's aligned with the design of the website. It gives the visitor sense of kind of similar content to the web page where it's located. And you as an affiliate marketer, you can actually benefit from that. So you can just create your campaign related to the content. So it should be attractive, it should be engaging, and that's the most successful way of doing it. That's pretty much everything. Maybe any questions? Well, first of all, there are some platforms that you can search online. Some of them are, let's say, Share-Through, Stack Adapt. Well, here at PixFuture, we also do self-serve, which can be the option as well. So there are a bunch of options there. Yeah, and they have different targetings, different capabilities of finding your right audience. Some of them even have demographic, which is actually very good. Actually, I forgot to mention one thing as well. So there's also native video these days, and in the native video, it's a good example where you can actually have a pixel at the end of the video, and when video finished, pixel fires. And then you can retarget this audience with a retargeting pixel on native advertising. And this works very well. It drives more conversions because, well, people seen video, and then they actually see the native ad, some content, some maybe an article about this product, and they become more engaged, and the click rate is increasing. And these options also can be available from some of the DSPs. Go ahead.
Now you mentioned
Yes, there are some ways around that. So the ad block has certain restrictions in terms of how many ads can be located on the page. And if it is an in-feed ad, which I just showed at the beginning, so the in-feed ad is not being blocked by ad block, which actually another market of visitors that you can guys reach. No, so it's not being blocked. But the others, such as content recommendations and things like search results, these days they're not entirely blocked. If you go to, let's say, google.com and do a search, you're going to see that there's going to be only 4 search results, promoted search results. So they have some guidelines for advertising platforms where they can accept and allow advertising. You mean, well, in terms of costs, you have to consider the fact that this content, first of all, is more engaging, right? So the people not only go to the article and read about this content, they become more engaged. If your product is good, and people would love to share it with their friends and coworkers, so you get more exposure. So in terms of rates, again, it depends on countries, depends on formats, depends on many other factors. But the statistics proving that the conversion rates are a lot higher these days than consider the other formats that are available out there.
Do you see publishers purchasing these ads as well as offering on their sites? And then what are some of the motivations that a publisher would have for purchasing?
Yes, there's some business around that, especially in recommended content and in recommended widgets. So newly built websites, they need traffic, right? So they need more visitors to the site, and they need to promote their articles. And we are seeing a lot of advertisers who actually promote their websites. They not only promote like newly built websites, but some of the very well-known publishers that most of us visit daily. They do native advertising as well. They do content recommendations.
What motivates them to do that?
Well, first of all, they get more audience. And what we actually found more interesting that sometimes they get more audience, they get more impressions of their advertisings, and they earn from these visitors. And the second part, if they have a product that they can sell, they do that as well. So on a very reputable website, you might see the product that they sell. So it's also like kind of engagement with the content, which produces leads generally.
Would it help SEO optimization too, or not?
This is the most asked question, actually. Yeah. Like myself, I don't believe in SEO. Yeah, there are a lot of companies that do that, right? And lots of people asking this. But native advertising is a little different thing, right? So you drive traffic. So you get lots of visits. So you get people actually visiting and engaging with your content. Where search engine optimization, I'd say a lot of companies do that, right? So they're not doing it for publishing website. You might be doing it for publishing, but at certain level. I'd say at the very, very beginning. But then you just need to kind of have people coming to your website. At a certain point, you hit the limit. And when you hit the limit, you need help, right? when you need help in more audience, where you get it? Either social, or you get it from content recommendations, which is a good source. Because, well, people coming from same kind of websites, from news websites or blogs, and they just genuinely clicking on similar content, which is available like at the below the article. So that's pretty much it. More questions? Guess that's everything. All right. Thank you very much. Hope it was useful.